They say power belongs to the people, and we are all expecting to see who the people have chosen. The by-elections bear so much weight in party supremacy battles now as the country marches the 2022 general elections. Hello and welcome to a fast show of this month, this year. It's so good to have you on a day that we have also witnessed claps of cheer and slaps of jeer. Chaos, arrests, and election violence have been greatly witnessed in a number of voting stations in the 7 by-elections where vote counting is currently ongoing. Kenyans have voted for new members of parliament in Matungu, Kakamega County, Kabuchai in Bungoma County, and MCAs in Huruma Ward in Uasin Gishu County, and Hell's Gate and London in Nakuru County. Kiomokama in Kisii and Kitise Kithuku in Makueni County. Frontrunners Deputy President William Ruto, ODM leader Raila Odinga, and heavyweights ANC's Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula of Ford Kenya have all fielded candidates. President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party is also on the ballot. We'll update you then and when we get any details of winners announced by the IBC. And to help us tally down how the election day has been, we have in studio the Executive Director of the County Governance Watch, who is on Zoom, Youth Policy Analyst Gloria Roba, and Chair of the Youth Alliance Shamala Douglas. Also a fourth and senior panelist is you watching. We ask you tonight to know a question of the day. Do you have confidence with the country's election process? Do you have confidence with the country's election process? Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 our social media handles Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln Ombogo. Remember to use the hashtag tipping point. Let's keep this show as interactive as possible. My name is Lincoln Ombogo. Our sign language interpreters tonight are Michael Matthew and Teresia Washira. Thank you for creating time. First, we begin with some images of the violence witnessed today, including that of former CS Rashid Echesa slapping an IEBC official. Take a look.
By who? By who? People opposing on you. You cannot chase our agents outside. My friend, there's no fairness here. You can't chase our agents outside. Why are you chasing them outside?
Gloria Douglas, it has gotten to this now. Slapping. Who is in the wrong? The IBC
no, definitely. We have to address one thing. Any violence that is witnessed either at the polling station or during, we definitely are not going to condone that. Although you have to ask yourself about the circumstances around that situation. It is clear that a lot of agents, and not only those in Kabuchai or Matungu, have been official agents who've been cleared to actually participate in the election, had been barred from going into the polling stations, which you would wonder why IBC would be participating in those kind of illegal tactics to try and sway.
Are you saying the Independent Electors and Boundaries Commission has been compromised, or is not as independent?
You see, the problem that we have during elections is not about different tribes or different communities not liking each other. You know, I want to point out that Kakamega, Nakuru, Kisii, and most of the places where you're seeing this violence during the by-elections, they have passed the Building Bridges initiative. So, you know, if that was a document that was supposed to bring peace during elections, then it's definitely clear that it's failing. But the issue with why we have violence during elections is not about tribes and what. It's about the transparency of our electoral processes. And what you're witnessing in all of these by-elections that are ongoing is that there's no transparency.
Are you saying IBC has been compromised, Gloria?
We know that IEBC is no longer independent, and that's the reason why we wanted to look into it in terms of how we pick our commissioners, how we actually have a process in terms of elections and things like that. So definitely, the first question you should be asking is why are cleared agents who are officials who they've been passed and they've actually been given the mandate to be in the polling station, why are they being barred by the same independent electoral body from actually participating on what they are supposed to be doing? So, I mean, the commotion around what was happening with the former CS Echesa is you can tell that people are angry, you know, and they're not angry because of nothing. They're angry because they are trying. They understand now that it's not about just casting your vote. You actually have to go out there and protect that vote, and that's what you're seeing in most of the election.
So Echesa was protecting
absolutely
his votes,
absolutely,
and the votes of
Did you see
Tanga.
what he was asking? He was asking the question, why are official agents who have been cleared by IEBC barred by the same IEBC from accessing the polling station? If we could have an IEBC officer, for instance, if Chebukati would come out and instead of calling out of the arrest of Echesa, if he would come out and address the issue being that most of the agents, not only in Kabuchai or in Matungu, but in Kisii, we've had our agents being arrested right before the elections began. So if you could come out and address, okay, we have an issue, and tell us why cleared agents of IEBC are being arrested before the elections, then, you know, perhaps you could have an honest and sincere conversation on what is happening.
Now, Douglas, before I even come to you, Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati has condemned the assault of an election official in Matungu, Kakamega County. The incidents, which was caught on camera, showed former Cabinet Secretary Echesa slapping an IBC official. Speaking after touring Kiwanja Ndege polling station in Naivasha, Chebukati called for the immediate arrest of Echesa over the incident.
The unfortunate incident today was at Matungu, where a former cabinet minister slapped an IBC official who was in the course of his duties. Now, it doesn't matter what complaint one has. Please channel it to the right sources so that the commission, which has structures, can act on it. But to take the law in his own hands and attack an officer on duty, it is criminal, and we're calling upon the security agencies in the Matungu and Kakamega County to apprehend this individual and prosecute him. We have groups of individuals moving around claiming to be agents, but they don't have proper papers for agencies, or rather for agents. They have not been sworn in as agents. This has to be stopped. The people authorized in polling stations and polling centers, as you can see here, and of course the voter.
Well, Gloria is of the thought that IBC has been compromised. Wafula Chebukati, of course, being the chairperson of the IBC, has to defend his people. What's your take?
First of all, to answer your question, I want to thank the people of Matungu and other constituencies for turning up in large numbers to vote for their respective candidates. You can see from the lines there, the quiz, they are so much, the turn up is much more than compared to other by-elections on the issue at hand. First of all, the act of the former CS Rashid Echesa, it is so despicable, it is so uncalled for, especially for a man who is of that caliber, of a former CS, who's a CS, in fact, you see. So there are right channels that you can express yourself. We have, the IBC has some structures. You can't stoop too low to slap an IBC official. You see that? If there is an issue, if you listen from that clip, you will see that the agent was bad, the UDA agent was bad from the being in the polling station because he was not having a mask. And having a mask, all right, IBC has rules, right? That it stipulates the rule that one of the things, because we have in COVID-19, have a mask. If you have a mask, you enter. But you cannot use force. They say, but you create your own ways, then you enter. Then, remember this, there was dialogue coming in. Then here comes in a leader, a former CS, comes to attack the IBC official. Then you start slapping up. You see that? Why wouldn't the Echesa, with all the connection he has, why wouldn't he express himself to the right structures so that those issues can be addressed? Because we have had scenarios where like malpractices are going on, and like in Kabuchai, there were some the cases of bribery. Some leaders called them the police to come in, and the police came in. That's the right way of addressing issues, not that ancient way of slapping, fighting. That's uncalled for. In fact, before I wind up on that point, you see, we have been fighting in this country the issue of using force and fighting violence during elections. For a long period, especially the youth have been vulnerable in being used in election violence. But I want to commend the youth this time round in these by-elections. These cases you are using, they are leaders. No youth has been used to cause violence. You see, so we are moving into stages, all right, which is so much commendable. So HSR he must know there is a role model.
But has the IBC been compromised in all this?
IBC, we have no any proof, okay? We have no any proof that IBC has been compromised.
But they can't be complaining, you know, I mean.
You see, when you say IBC has compromised, you see that? Give us cases, especially when you're talking about these by-elections. Remember, we're talking about these by-elections, not any other by-elections. Give us proof to show that IBC has been compromised. You see that? Even the elections are not yet out. We have not had any official complaint, okay, being channeled to IBC expressing how the satisfaction of the results. You see that? So you cannot claim now that IBC has been compromised. By who?
Thank you, Douglas. Kevin, thank you for joining us on Zoom. Kevin, thank you for joining us on Zoom.
You're on mute.
Unmute, please unmute your mic, Kevin. We'll get back to you in a bit, Kevin. First, unmute your
Can
mic.
you just allow me to say something? In terms
Before you even say that, Gloria, do you think, you know, Douglas says that the reason why the UDA guys were banned from accessing the station is because they had no masks?
You know, Douglas should join the team of propagandists who are out there.
Do you think a
you
mask
know when they
would be
were
a reason?
You know when they were harassing Bobby Wine in Uganda, what did they say? He was not social distancing and he was not wearing masks. You know, when between this period of COVID, when you are actually trying to rightfully say that something wrong is happening to you, the first thing they start telling you is imposing that actually you're not even wearing the mask the proper way. We know that it's not true.
So you disagree with that?
Are you trying to tell us that all our agents, for instance, in Kisii, where we've had more than 5 agents arrested, are you telling me they all didn't have masks all concurrently at the same time? Even the night before, when we knew that their arrest had been called out. So I don't want to indulge that, because we know that is very cheap propaganda. But what caught my attention was when Chebukati said that it is criminal for anyone to actually violently attack an IEBC officer. I'd like to remind Chebukati, being the chair of IEBC, that it is criminal for anyone to actually obstruct a free and fair election. When I'm talking about obstruction, I'm talking about the same independent body that's supposed to safeguard the electoral process is actually frustrating the process by making sure that certain people of the political divide, their agents are not fairly given the same platform or chance that the other competitors are. That is actually criminal. It is also criminal, and I have to use the same words, criminal is what he's saying, to miss the abuse of police force, to actually go out and have unjustified arrests. We call them illegal detentions, because that is what is happening. As we are speaking now, we have Don Bosco in Kisii, who's still under arrest. He has been detained. He does not have a charge sheet. He does not have. They're not telling him why they're keeping him there.
Are you saying the security forces are being used?
Of course, absolutely. The police,
against who?
The police are being abused, and they are being used as a tool for a certain political divide. Now, let me ask you something. We've had by-elections in how many counties, or how many? I think we have at least 5 by-elections going on today. Yeah, and which people have been arrested? Which people have been arrested? When you go to Kisii, you look at all the UDA affiliates have been arrested. When you go to the one that we have in Huruma Ward, Uasin Gishu, as well, UDA people who are being arrested. You go to Kabuchai, UDA, Matungu, same thing. Now, let me ask you something. We have seen Senator Cleophas Malala and the ODM side of that divide actually engaging in violent activities. We saw how it was very heightened at that point with Gladys Wanga. There are no arrests. They've not even been detained to write a statement of what is happening.
So you're saying it's an unfair process?
It's a very unfair process. And I'll point out something else. Cleophas Malala went out and gave evidence that at around 3 o'clock, not even 3 o'clock, some minutes to 3 o'clock, certain polling stations had already, the results had been doctored. He actually had the evidence, you know, they went with the clips and everything. Have we seen any arrests? We've not seen any arrests. The only people that are being arrested are the UDA affiliates, because by extension, they are the Tanga Tanga Hustler movement people. So at the end of the day, when
Any
you
formal
look at,
complaints, Gloria?
yes, we've had formal complaints, and I've actually seen, when I was watching some of the clips of MP Nixon Korir, he was being confronted by the police. He was actually being harassed by the police, people who are supposed to safeguard them, and he has publicly said that he's going to that he has made an official complaint. Now, that's not even the case. The point here is, you can fool so many people, but Kenyans have woken up. You can't tell me that in all these polling stations, that only the, including in Huruma, where they have been very peaceful, that only the UDA affiliates are apparently not wearing masks, so they are getting arrested. Only the UDA affiliates are apparently causing incitement and violence in polling stations. And only the UDA affiliates, their agents are apparently not clearly stated in the list. I mean, we know it is absurd. It is absurd. So moving forward, what we are saying is, today is the same day that we had the BBI being tabled in Parliament. Same day. So this magical document that is supposed to bring peace during elections cannot even guarantee us peace during by-elections. These are by-elections. What kind of guarantee do we have come 2022 when we are going to take on the general elections?
Gloria, can I ask you something before I come to you, Duncan? What if you take these seats? What if you clinch these seats? Are you still going to go on with your complaints?
What if UDA
No,
but we know we are
clinch the
winning.
seats?
We know we are winning. I mean, results that are coming in, for instance, in the London ward, where the UDA candidate is winning. So, I mean, it's not about winning or losing. It's about understanding that our issues in terms of the electoral process is not going to be solved by a document that introduces the prime minister or what.
So,
we are
Gloria,
trying
regardless
to,
of whether you win or not,
the outcome, what we are trying to highlight here, as active citizens who happen to be part of the Hustler Nation, we are trying to highlight that the electoral process must be fair, must be transparent, and this IEBC is supposed to be an independent body that should not be using, that should not be abusing the police force in terms of, you know, trying to please a certain side of the political divide.
Why is this election so important?
I will forgive my sister here.
Why are you forgiving
for misusing the word criminal and biasly using it? Two things. Let me answer her issue where she's saying that IEBC through Wafula Chebukati, they are misusing the security forces, and also that the same people are supposed to be accused for participating in criminal offenses. Let me ask you. You see that? Does IBC own police officers? You know, we have structures. IBC is not police. You see that? We have, if there is a malpractice, we have different bodies, agencies that carries out. IBC only complains. All right. Then on the same, you cannot commit, in the law, you cannot commit an offense. Then you've been arrested. Then you say even the other friend is also doing the same. Why not arresting that one? You see that? The law does not apply that
Which
way.
offense has Don Bosco been charged with? Which offense have Anthony Kibagendi been charged with? Are you aware that the UDA people who are arrested today, they do not have charge sheets? They have not been given any.
Look
in
at
fact,
this.
They were released like as if they were visitors of the
police.
At this.
Let him finish.
Now look at this. Look at this. When you are talking about malpractices, I said earlier, we have some rules that are given during a polling station. You see? And here we are not dealing with assumptions. If you listen to that clip, it is said clearly, even you saw the IBC official talking about the mask. Did that official, the agent, complain that, no, I have the mask? Did he? No. You see that? He was guilty. You see that? So you cannot start and saying that he did not, the person was there, admitted himself. You see that? So let's not use assumptions. Another thing is this. When you are talking about that there are only UDA candidates who have been arrested, in Matungu, we had an ODM candidate, ODM MP, who was arrested. You see that? So you cannot just say that only this. And if it is UDA and the Tanga function that is participating in malpractices, voter bribery, being accused, Remember, being accused. Because if you are found with ballot boxes, okay, you are arrested. So should you not arrest them in the name of that? No, we need also to go and find the other function who are participating in it.
Do you think it's a fair? Do you think it's a free and fair by-election?
To me, for now, first of all, we have since we have not had any formal complaint, we cannot say it is either free and fair, okay, or it is not.
As
right?
An observer.
As an observer, me personally, I can say first of all, the elections have been peaceful. To me.
Peaceful.
Why? It's only leaders who have been engaging themselves. You see that? That in fact, I'm so happy for that. I celebrate for that. Because normally we used to have the people being used to cause violence. But here we are having leaders themselves exchanging blows. You see that? So if, for example, what my sister is telling here, that we had Honorable Gladys Wanga and Cleophas Malala exchanging. Now, how is it concerned IBC, all right? If you and your fellows, you are here exchanging yourself, okay? You are not bribing, because where IBC comes in, how are you influencing to the outcome of the elections, all right? Are you bribing voters, okay? Are you disrupting the peace in that election, in that polling station? If the answer is no, you can dance with yourselves there. There's no problem. So what was happening between Cleophas Malala and Gladys Wanga, to me, the reason as why they were not arrested, they were just having their personal exchanges. Look at what was happening. You remember even the conversation. You see that? Did Cleophas Malala, you would have told me, Cleophas Malala was found with ABC or maybe attacking, you see that, an agent or maybe in any way the IBC officials, and he was left. We could have started from there. But now, my sister here is just making assumptions. He's not giving
I think let's clarify. No, let us clarify. The only reason Cleophas Malala actually engaged Wanga and they started having their argument or whatever it is you're trying to call a personal conversation is because one was accusing the other of bribing voters at the entrance of the polling station.
Gloria,
so that is
we have Osido. We have Kevin Osido. Kevin, thank you. Kevin, are you there? Hi, Kevin. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can.
Kevin,
can you hear me?
Yes. Why are these by-elections so important? Why are we seeing so much chaos? Do you think the IBC has been compromised, Kevin?
Wambugu, the IBC has not been compromised, and leaders should stop misbehaving and taking advantage of organized citizens and frustrating them in their own localities. The actions by Mheshimiwa Chesa were uncouth, uncalled for, very unfortunate, extremely disrespectful. IEBC undertakes its mandate through what is called the electoral cycle. Part of what that electoral cycle entails is election preparedness. Part of what that electoral preparedness entails is engaging engaging in a multi-stakeholder process, which involves the candidates, their agents, the voter, and various agencies that are entitled to undertake certain measures, for example, security agencies. If you are not part of the electoral process and you have been effectively engaged by IEBC, please stay at home and watch the by-election on TV. It is rather sad that none of us was in either of the contexts. I was in Nakuru yesterday, but I had to come back to Nairobi for other engagements. But as my colleague gentleman there says, the citizens are very peaceful. It is the leaders who are misbehaving. IEBC has not been compromised. Let those who are misbehaving be arrested, because if we do not take action now, Wambugu, 2022 is going to be much more serious and worse than what we are seeing right now. It is rather unfortunate, however.
Thank you, Kevin. The question we ask you, do you have confidence with the country's election process? Do you have confidence with the country's election process? Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 444 111 or on our social media handles as Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln Ombogo. Remember to use the hashtag Tipping Point. We now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. The conversation continues. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. This is Tipping Point. I'm your host, Lincoln Obogo. Do you have confidence with the country's election process? Do you have confidence with the country's election process? Send an SMS now on our line 111 or on social media handles Switch TV Kenya at Lincoln Obogo. Remember to use the hashtag Tipping Point. Now, why is this election so important? Is it a litmus test for these bigwigs?
I wouldn't say it's a litmus test.
Not really?
No, not in terms of the presidency and who's going to come in 2022. What I would say, though, is that we are preparing for 2022. So, like I can tell you, the lessons learned in Msambweni have actually been, applied in all the other by-elections. For instance, there's been a lot of complaints online that why would you be shipping elected leaders from a certain region, taking them to become agents? It's because we have understood that if you have an elected leader serving as an agent, chances of them being bullied and harassed by the police or the IEBC officials are actually minimal. So what is happening is that people are actually preparing, political parties and candidates are preparing for the 2022 general elections. I don't think for instance, people are saying, we want to understand whether UDA and William Ruto has got ground and this and that. UDA is a fairly new party. I don't think UDA is not even at 3 months. So you'd not say that this is a litmus test in terms of a general election, a party that is very new, going against parties such as ANC and ODM. What really is happening is people are sharpening their skills when it comes to the electoral process. There is an understanding that IEBC will forever be compromised up until 2022. And so therefore, politicians and political parties and also people, the hustlers, have understood that the only way to beat the system is understand how it works and work with it.
IEBC will be compromised until 20. What do you mean?
IEBC is not independent. It's not independent. I mean, how can you say that it is independent when we still don't have answers as to why agents were being barred from polling stations? How would you say IEBC is independent when you can see them, the mandate? There's something that my co-panelist said that, IEBC is not in charge of the police. IEBC's mandate is to supervise and conduct elections. While you are at the polling station, any activity that is around the polling station that is that is like a malpractice or is, IEBC is responsible for calling that out. They are responsible for then working with other government agencies, that is the police who have been, deployed to those certain stations, and telling them this is how we feel about this issue. This person is suspected of ABCD. Put them in the holding place, but not the other way around. The police are not given the mandate to conduct and supervise elections. You understand? The internal ministry of security does not have the mandate to interfere in. So the moment any other agent actually interferes in that electoral process, we should be seeing Wafula Chebukati coming out on a press conference to state that we understand that certain agents of the polling stations were bad. We are looking into it. It is not, we did not give that order, but it came from blah, 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 and this is how we are dealing with it. Instead, we see him calling for the arrest of Echesa.
Echesa.
Yes.
Before I come to you,
Yes.
Kevin, I'd like Kevin to answer this question. Kevin, do you think what we're witnessing now is a reflection of what we are going to witness in 2022?
Lincoln, the answer to your question is yes. If we do not do certain things right now and very urgently, this is only but a litmus test to what is going to be happening in 2022. And it is because leaders have refused to engage effectively. Leaders have refused to learn proper lessons. 2007, 2008, 2013, 2017. Even in a manner in which we register political parties, there are specific requirements. The basic one is that you must have physical offices in at least half of the 47 counties. That is 24. But we have new political parties that have been registered without effective, properly following the requirements. And parties are going to be formed, Lincoln, tomorrow. Others will be formed on Sunday. Others will be formed 3 months to the 2022 general elections. The by-elections that we are seeing today are actually a litmus test to what we expect to see in 2022. Rather unfortunate, though, that Gloria is mentioning the BBI now. It is a process, and we cannot expect the BBI that is still being discussed actually at the National Assembly to be able to deal with our issues right now. And that is why the BBI is there, because the BBI says that we have picked lessons on how leaders behave, that when you cannot be able to speak properly, you slap someone. And that is rather unfortunate, because if we have everyone slapping everyone from all these 71 plus registered political parties, Lincoln, there will be no Kenya. If you go to court and you are slapping a judge because the two of you cannot cannot agree on how your case is being meted or is being executed, there's going to be a problem. And so the beauty of what this really is that governance practitioners, like ourselves here, election management bodies like IEBC, multi-stakeholder, other stakeholders who are involved in the electoral process are also picking lessons, particularly the security agencies are picking lessons on how we can be able to safeguard 2022. Because if we are going to leave it to the politicians, like what Gloria is saying, that we are seeing that leaders cannot be intimidated or harassed by election officials, assuming that all the 360 leaders who sit at the National Assembly, plus the over 2,000 NCS we have in this country, are going to be walking into polling stations, slapping people left, right, and center. This country is going to be ungovernable, Lincoln. We must exercise restraint. We will have to allow commissions and agencies like IEBC and others who have been constitutionally mandated to do their work. Give them the space. In fact, I would say, if you are an elected leader and you, in fact, HSI is not elected, and he's not probably, I don't know the circumstances within which he was there, but there are requirements pertaining who even is nominated by a candidate to be an agent. And if we are going to be seeing the kind of all these happening in 2022, Lincoln, I am afraid.
Thank you, Kevin.
We are going to be asking Kenyans to boycott going to vote, because if we continue to sit high, people are going to be scared of their own security mechanisms during elections in 2022.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Jeff Kelly says, this is a dramatic nation. Every individual in government thinks that they can own the nation and do whatever they want. And another one is asking you to listen to yourself saying what you're saying to Gloria. and Gloria, Alex Ilamoya is saying UDA is a gang of criminals. HSA should be arrested. One is saying, why always the UDA party? Kwani wao ndio wanaonewa kila mahali kila time. You people don't know, but why mnaharibia your president? You're too chaotic. And one is saying, I really don't understand why UDA is involved. Where UDA is involved, chaos are experienced.
Maybe,
yes.
Kevin
says this is going to be a reflection of what we might witness in 2022. Gloria is of a different opinion. What's yours?
Okay, even before that.
No. First answer that.
Actually, me, there's a point that I want to approach in this thing, why we are having this high octane politics that is happening right now. Me, as in my understanding, each center, each constituency has different dynamics that are influencing this kind of high level octane of campaigns and politics and all what is happening, like as if we are in 2022. The reason being, like, I can assess in each and every constituency. Look at Matungu. Matungu, what is influencing Matungu constituency Kakamega County? It is based on 4 factors. Okay, the first factor is the aspect of the supremacy battles. Okay, there is Musalia Mudavadi, and there is Wycliffe Oparanya. All right, Kakamega being the epicenter of the Western region politics, because it's large in size. Also, it is the headquarters of the Western region. It is also the highest in terms of population in the Western region. So whoever controls the Western regions, the Kakamega County controls the entire Western region. Remember Musalia Mudavadi and Oparanya, they have all expressed their interest in vying for presidency. So Matungu coming at almost next to the general elections, you see, every person, both Musalia Mudavadi, if you can listen even during the campaigns of Musalia Mudavadi, he's not mentioning anywhere any other person, but he's mentioning Raila Amolo Odinga and weekly from Musalia Mudavadi. You see that? So what does it happen? Is they want to, each person, Oparanya, Raila through Oparanya, they want to show that with winning the Matungu by-election is a strong message that they are still strong on the ground. You see that? Then on the Musalia Mudavadi side, he must win that seat because remember, there is the quest for Luya unity. You see that? So once they win, it is a strong message that the Mlembe nation is united. You see that? The same battles are even we are seeing experienced in coastal region. You see that? We are seeing the Cliff governor, Amason Kingi, and the Mombasa governor, Joho, right? Having supremacy battles. Those are regional. Another factor, before maybe you can come in.
Dorcas, you haven't really answered my question.
Yes.
Is this going to be a reflection
Yes.
of how 2022 is going to look like?
It might not.
It might not.
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Because what is being experienced here currently are based on the dynamics that are here within. Because each political side is trying to prove a point towards 2022, right? Because we may end up in 2022 and we may not have some of these factors, like maybe I was talking about, like in Western, maybe we may not even have Musalia Mudavadi, all right? Then we may have maybe Raila Odinga and Ruto, maybe, all right? So, and at that time, the kind of politics, the dynamics that will be there will be totally different. You see that? So each factor, the factors that are influencing the types of elections that are here, the type of campaigns and the type of the high tense is totally different. All right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Gloria, now let's go to party politics and party discipline. Jubilee has had their candidates, a good number of candidates in all the 7 by-elections that we're witnessing now. But we've had members of Jubilee who are in UDA campaigning for UDA candidates, whereas we have Jubilee has already floated candidates. Is it even legal?
First of all, a disclaimer, I do not belong to any political party.
You don't?
I don't belong to UDA.
You strongly support UDA?
I do not belong to Jubilee. I do not belong to ODM or any political party as at now. In terms of the party politics on who is supporting what, whether it's legal or not, the one thing that I tend to support or advocate for is our bills of rights. We have the right to freedom of association. You have the right to decide to either, follow a certain ideology, whether it is the Hustler movement or whether it is the Punguza Mzigo. It is a right within our constitution under the freedom of association. So when I see certain members of Jubilee trying to sort of align with new political parties such as UDA, I think it is their right. The only difference is if they hold certain positions within that Jubilee. And also political parties have got their own constitution. They've got their own disciplinary actions. So as long as they're not going against their political party, I don't think that it is a crime for anyone to say that actually this Hustler Nation movement, I support it. It is actually the right of association. I think Kevin talked about, it's interesting that I bring about BBI and that BBI is a process and, we require time and this and that. The reason why BBI was pushed down our throats and we were told that we have to absolutely go through a referendum before 2022 was the first thing they said is that we need to ensure that we have a peaceful political process and that we don't have to go into the cycle of post-election violence after 2022. And that's the reason why they want to have the referendum before, because apparently BBI is the solution to political violence. BBI was addressing 9 points. And amongst those 9 points, we have ethnic antagonism, and that's where they were talking about political parties not being tribal or regional and things like that. And then they were also addressing divisive politics. And how are they addressing divisive politics? They wanted to ensure that once we are done with an election, everybody wins, you know? So even the losers feel that they have a stake in government. That's the reason why the expansion of the executive was fronted. That's the reason why BBI said, you know, we need to have a strong opposition, and so therefore we have to create that office and institutionalize it. Now, the reason I am asking whether really this is what we need to solve our divisive politics is because these counties where we are having by-elections have passed the Building Bridges initiative, meaning the people resonate with it, meaning the people have been sensitized about it, meaning the people also understand that now we are in a new era, we are in the BBI era. Now my question is very simple to the same people who are actually now fighting within those counties in the by-elections. If you as a people have passed this bill, you believe in it so much so that you passed it in the county assemblies and you're actually mobilizing people to go and vote for it, why are we not seeing some of the beliefs, ideologies, or some of the what you would call the symptoms to cure this divisive politics? Why are we not witnessing, maybe not in full, but you know, some elements of it? Why are we not witnessing it now? Because there's nothing that will change, but even if we pass the bill, the only thing that I think will change in terms of IEBC is that there was a proposal that the chair of IEBC should, you know, be a lawyer and things like that. But at the end of the day, the dynamics remain the same. And I completely disagree with him when he says that come 2022, because the competitors or the players within the political scene might have changed, so definitely things will change. Nothing will change as long as IEBC will allow for people, foreigners, foreign agencies, police force to come in and interfere with the elections. Nothing will change for as long as we understand the dynamics of influencing and poisoning an electoral process. So at the end of the day, what we should be talking about, Link, we should be talking about how do we safeguard our votes. And that is what you see the UDA people doing. They are guarding the votes.
They're guarding the votes.
Yes.
Just a point to add.
Let's go. Let's go to Kevin.
Yeah?
Kevin, you're a governance expert. Kevin, is it legal for a Jubilee party member to campaign for another party candidate? Kevin, is it legal?
Lincoln, I didn't get your question.
Is it legal? We've seen Jubilee face many problems the past few months, but the question I'm asking, is it legal from a governance expert point of view, is it legal for a Jubilee candidate or Jubilee member to be campaigning for another candidate from another party?
It is not right, whether legal or not legal. I think if you go through the Political Party Act, there's actually a clause, I think it's Article 260 of the same, I need to refer, that prohibits members of one party campaigning or even insinuating to be advocating for the prospects of another party while they are members of an existing registered political party. And further to that is to go through the constitution, the establishing governance frameworks of Jubilee. And to a greater extent, I think that is partly why we have seen a lot of squabbles within the Jubilee Party, including changes to its higher apex of leadership, where we have had members being either changed or switched off, and even members who have been nominated through the political party being asked to leave. So as I said earlier on, the beauty about these by-elections and the high-octane campaigns and exercises, rather activities that are going on, is that they are already opening our eyes on some of the gaps that even part of some of the gaps that exist both within the law, establishing governance frameworks or mechanisms of political parties. Now, the only unfortunate thing, Lincoln, is that the people who are actually, I would call them at this level, the Mwananchi, the person who votes, a lot of them, or most of us, have very little influence to do with what happens within the political parties, except and unless you are but a registered member of that political party and have a lot of say. Because if you look at, for instance, other governance mechanisms within political parties, like National Executive Council or disciplinary committees or liaison committees or inter-party agencies within those political parties, For all the over 71 plus registered political parties, we have a profile of those who sit in those particular organs. Many of them are not the common citizens. Even if you go to the youth leagues, the women leagues, leagues of persons with disabilities, the normal citizen is disadvantaged. And that is why a lot of them, the changes that will take place will happen at the highest level of representation, who then become the sitting members of parliament, either National Assembly or even the Senate. And so whether legal or not, Lincoln, I'll have to check, but I think the Political Parties Act is very clear. We need to visit and check the establishing governance mechanisms of those particular political parties. I know of parties that exist in this country that you cannot even attempt to advocate for another party if you are a sitting member of that particular party. Kevin, but for the case of Jubilee, I am not so sure about it.
We have seen people being axed from a Jubilee party for acrimony. Now, the deputy president has also been accused of acrimony in a Jubilee party. And do you think the deputy president will survive in Jubilee? Will he be axed? We've just seen the newly appointed deputy secretary general of the Jubilee party, so that he will gladly take that motion and run with it to the bank. Do you think the deputy president is the next person to be axed in Jubilee party, Kevin?
Lincoln, if this was happening in a country like South Africa, the deputy president would have been asked a long time ago, more than 2 years ago. Because a party, for example, African National Congress, ANC, we have seen 2 sitting presidents being asked to leave office by members, of those particular parties. But because this is Kenya, you can misbehave, you can disregard governance mechanisms, and you can choose to even say mutadu, and actually nothing is being done to you. But looking at the way this is going down, I think, in my view, if the party leader and deputy party leader of Jubilee do not consider a handshake among themselves, I don't think it's going to be easy for the deputy president. I don't know whether he's going to be asked or not, because I don't speak for any of those parties. I don't sit in their meetings to decide or to know what is happening. But from what is happening, I think we are almost headed there, Lincoln. We are almost getting there.
Evan, Dorcas.
First of all, even before that point, there is, I want to comment on my sister's point here. It's unfortunate that she's contradicting herself and swallowing her own words. Yes. Remember she used the word our when she was referring to UDA. We are winning, right? Then she says, you posed her question, are you in any party? Are you in a support of any party? She said, no. You see that? So you have to be very clear on that. I
will clarify that.
You see that? Yeah. Then on the other position,
she's here.
Don't worry about that.
You see that? So she is, of course, supporting UDA, all right? From her sentiments, you can see very clearly, all right? So just on that point. Then on whether the Jubilee government will succeed in axing the deputy president. That is, if the Jubilee wants, if the government wants to axe the deputy president, it will. All right? It will. But what we need to ask ourselves, what will be the implication? What will be the aftermath of the axing of the deputy president? All right? Because the government has tried before, the Jubilee government has tried before, wherever they want to do something, they have succeeded, all right? So if today the Jubilee decides that we want to impeach William Ruto, they will do it as soon as 10 a.m. Ruto will be out. But now the only thing is, even if they want, but sometimes they have to look at, if today, like Honorable Mratha last time was saying, very soon there will be evicting the deputy president from the Hustler mansion. Yes, they can, all right? But now we look at if today they evict the deputy president, you know what will happen? The DP will run to the people. You see that? And say, you see what? People? Yes, we'll say, you know what? The big boys have evicted me from the what? From our mansion because I'm poor. All right.
What's
Let
going to
us
be the
unite.
next? If
All right, sir. So they also have to calculate.
will the
and
deputy
ensure that-
president be axed?
First of all, for avoidance of doubt,
We have less than a minute,
Yes,
Gloria.
yes, yes. I have the freedom of association. I associate with certain ideologies and beliefs of the Tanga movement, of the Hustler Nation movement. But am I registered to a party that is affiliated to them? No, I'm not. So I'm not
UDA?
speaking. I'm not a member of UDA. I'm not registered, and I'm not a member of that party. So I think that answers your question. You're asking if the deputy
In less
president
than
is
30
going to
seconds.
be.
And this will be
I
your
don't
final
think. I don't
sentiments
think
as well.
Uhuru Kenyatta is I don't think that it would be smart of him, and I know that he also thinks like how I think. It's not smart of him to be remembered that his legacy will be that president, that one president that we've had in Kenya who attempts to impeach his deputy. I think his focus right now is what is going to be his legacy, whether it's going to be the Big Four agenda or BBI. I don't think that he would be stupid enough to actually attempt to impeach his deputy. That's my sentiment.
That's your sentiment?
Yeah.
Now, politicians are people, and this is our quote of the day. Politicians are people who, when they see a light at the end of a tunnel, go out and buy more tunnels. By John Quinton. Now, the views described in the show are strictly individual views and do not portray the views of Switch TV. My panelists, and of course you viewers, many thanks for watching. I am Lincoln Ombogo. Our sign language interpreters, thank you, Michael, Maithe and Teresia Washida. The conversation continues next Thursday at exactly 7:30 p.m.